That comes through. I will send that to you.
Okay.
After today.
Okay. Okay. Time to get back. And with us now, we've got Assistant Professor of Environmental Science from UW-Whitewater, Stephen Levas. He's going to talk about his partnering university resources with area lake associations. So thank you and welcome. So you want, yeah, you want to?
Can everybody hear me? Yeah, I think we're good. All right. So I am, as he said, Professor Levas. I just got tenure, so that assistant, hopefully, if the board of regents accepts it, will be associate. Yeah, so this talk, Tom asked me a couple of months ago, and I figured I would trade this 15 to 20 minutes. Instead of right now, I should be starting an hour and 15-minute lecture on net primary production for my students. So I traded that and I figured, hey, why not? I promised I won't go 20 minutes, and if I do, oh well. But this talk came about because I was invited to give a talk at the Walworth County Lake Associations about partnering university resources with the different lake associations in Walworth County. And this really came about because of a concerned citizen who works on Lake Lorraine. So this is a picture from Lake Lorraine. This is actually taken with one of our drones. I collaborated with a capstone course and a course using drones, and they took this beautiful picture. So why partner? And one of the reasons that we want to partner is because of resources. Not just resources, but at our university, we have expertise and we have knowledge. And that's me. Now, I'm classically trained as a coral reef biologist, marine biologist, aquatic biogeochemist, whatever you want to call it. So I got my PhD at The Ohio State. I know, go Bucks. But, you know, I'm classically trained as that. But in order to adapt, I had to learn about local ecosystems. I grew up in Greenville, Wisconsin. And so Wisconsin and its issues mean a lot to me. But also, it's about training students. It's about learning techniques and being able to take those techniques and apply them to different questions. And we have those resources at University of Whitewater. And other universities, I know Todd is here from Carroll University as well. I don't know if any of the professors are here, but we have resources. I partner with colleagues in chemistry, colleagues in geography, geology, environmental science. And so we have that skill set. We also have the analytical instrumentation. Just sitting there at Whitewater, we share everything. And that is generally at larger universities unheard of, right? If you're very siloed, this is mine. We share everything at Whitewater. So if you need metal analyses, I work with Dr. John Eden to look at and use ICP OES, right? Just a fancy tool to measure the metals within sediment, whether measure the metals within water. We also have cheap labor, students, right? And one of my previous students is here. She took a capstone course with me, so, and now she's doing well. But the lake associations or community members or even private companies, they offer really good things as well. And that's also their local knowledge. That's their local expertise. That's their expertise in whatever they do. They have that same skill set or different skill sets that we can combine to train students. And that's what we want, because we want to train the next generation who are going to answer the questions and solve the problems that we have at school today. They also have things that we don't have at Whitewater. I don't know about Carroll, but that's money, right? Lake associations have a pot of money that we're able to utilize and pay students to train. At Whitewater, we don't have boats. And so if you have a boat, we can use it. So creating context. The first step, if you guys want to reach out to a university professor, somebody, or ask a question on, hey, you know, maybe you don't want to contact a large company, it's going to be expensive, but you want to get someone else involved, you want to help train somebody, or you have just a general question, is contacting the right people. I can't tell you how often somebody says, oh yeah, you're like the 18th person I emailed. The boots on the ground, so to speak, are professors, the chairs of the department. I'm volunteering at a kindergarten because they sent an email to my chair and nobody responded. And I was like, hey, why not? I'll volunteer and teach some kids about coral reefs. Outreach coordinators are another good resource. The people who you do not want to reach out to, and this may be different at different institutions, are deans, because they're super busy. You have provosts who are even busier. And then the last one you never want to reach out to is the chancellor. And the reason why is because really, unless you're going to donate a bunch of money or you're into institutional operation, they're not going to respond. It's people like me who want to see, who want to use your experience, who want to collaborate. We are the ones who you want to reach out to. So, creating that collaboration. The more ideas that you have, the better off you're going to be. Even if you're highly specific, just reach out. Because if I don't know who to contact, if I don't have that expertise, I know somebody who does. And if I don't, I'm going to find out. Understand the limitations of working with smaller universities and larger universities is the other thing. I have 50% teaching, 25% research, and then, well, it's more like 35, and then 15% is given to meeting with other faculty and hearing them talk about random issues of the university. My time is limited, but to people like me, it is important that that we work together and we find time to collaborate. And so if I don't respond to an email, if somebody doesn't respond to an email right away, send another one. It doesn't mean that we don't care. It's just our time is limited, and I get 50 emails a day. Asking me to make it a better grade. But, it's like, oh, sure, why not? But there's time constraints and there's also resource limitations. Larger university, anybody from a larger university here? You guys, okay. So sometimes small pots of money are not as interesting to larger universities. But for people like me, it's how we thrive. It's how we do our research. I don't get money from my university to do research. I have to go out and find it. So one of the things that I've learned, and this has been evolving, this has evolved in the past, I'd say 5 years since I've been doing this, is create a contract or proposal. Make whoever you're working with, create some sort of proposal. Right now I'm working with Rice Lake, and it's been fantastic. The open lines of communication have been so good because they told me what they want, and I was able to tailor a proposal to them and also put in a budget and also a timeline. The timeline states when will the research take place, what will be done with the data, and then will it be used for a report to submit to a grant to the WDNR, right? So know what you're going to do with the data. And I learned this early on because I had a student put together some data and send it off to a collaborator, I'll call him. And they sent it to the DNR, unbeknownst to me. So I got a nice email from somebody from the DNR, which was fine. And I spent about 2 hours explaining what we were doing and put the data within context. And so understand that just because there's data, it can get out there, right? And so it's about, for us as faculty, understanding what's going to happen with that or reports or whatever's created. And so be upfront. What are you going to do with the data? Are you going to submit it for a permits, for a grant? What do you want out of it? And there's different types of collaboration. This is something that was created in 2017 with Walworth County looking at the nitrate issues. This is GIS 370, I think. Dr. Duchesne came up with this, and she had our students create these maps looking at Likely impacts of nitrate within groundwater. We've all heard about nitrate, blue baby syndrome, and then actually where in the concentrations of nitrate within those different wells. So you can have different projects in different settings with different intensities, as I like to say. So classroom settings are pretty good. You know, you get a report out of it. That's nice. A little more intense would be something like a capstone project. One of my students had me for a capstone right during COVID. That put a damper on the project, I say. But capstone projects are different at each university. For us, it's a semester-long project where they show at the end of their environmental science degree that they're capable of conducting research, putting together a report, and then disseminating that report in either that report to us or a presentation to the faculty. But it's something that they can be proud of, that they can send. The problem is 4 months. What research questions really can be asked, analyzed, summarized, data collected, conclusions in 4 months? You're limited, right? So this is one, and you can see that the students put together a weird little graph here. But they went around Lake Lorraine, they took sediment cores, and they analyzed the phosphorus concentrations within the different horizons of that sediment core. And then plotted it, so core, and that's just centimeters. So you can see what we do. And over time, these things have evolved. So right now, I've been doing a year-long student research project using Lake Lorraine. And the reason I use Lake Lorraine is because Don Huntington, I'm going to call him out by name, I think he's in Florida right now. He lives at the tip of the northern tip of Lake Lorraine. And his energy is infectious. Students get to see that energy. Students get to interact with you in a professional setting and see how much you guys care about your local issues. They get involved with the community. And that means more than learning how to convert something from, you know, micromoles to grams per liter. It really does. It's that interaction, it's that professional setting that they need, that training, that experiential learning that they need in order to get them to the next level. So this is just, we've done all these things. So we collaborated, looked at the different fauna within these bogs, how much carbon and phosphorus is stored within these bogs, and then, well, they cut the bogs a year later, and so we know how much carbon and phosphorus from that lake stored in those bogs. Right? So we can answer these different types of questions. It takes time and it takes resources. Have explicit outcomes. There's Don. He doesn't know I put him in here. But I think there's a couple people in my town. That's great. So have explicit outcomes. Deadlines are key if the report is to be generated. It has to be outlined. What's the time frame? Variables. COVID-19 set me back 2 years. 2 years. Only now am I starting to get back up. And it's that one-on-one interaction. It's that face-to-face meeting. It's that getting out into the field with the students so that they're in the field. You can't get that over a screen. Research student graduation, we lose you guys, the students in graduation. The projects continue. So you have to train new students. Duration of the project and then subsequent funding issues. Everything that I've done thus far has been $1,000 or less. Only now, partnership with Rice Lake, am I starting to get smaller amounts of money. And that's all that. I'm not getting any of it. I'm giving it all to students for student training because we have to compete. We have to get these students ready for the next step. Open lines of communication are key. It is essential that if you have a question, email. And if I miss it, send another email. Because I will get back to you. And then, again, what will be done with the data? Who has rights to the data? Who has access to the data? These are some of the key issues. So, moral of the story is the reason I want to come and talk to you is because if you guys have a question, you're by a local university, whether that's even UW-Milwaukee or UW-Whitewater, reach out. We're looking for projects to do. And all these pictures are of my Capstone students. We do this because we want to see our students succeed. That's what means the most to us. It really does. Any questions?
Question.
Yeah.
You may mention earlier lake associations, and I'm kind of intrigued about the lake associations in Wisconsin, how they're tied to the community and some of the things that they're doing. Any comment about how they operate and maybe what the premise is? And
So I don't know enough.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I was photographing. I don't know enough about how they work. I just know that they're a resource that I can reach out to. I think it's all tax dollars if I might be correct on that. I might be wrong.
association fee,
So it's,
they voluntarily pay.
yeah, and so that proposal allows you to see, all right, what are the issues within that lake that people want to see addressed? And they usually have committees. I've been working with a subset of a committee, and they asked me, hey, could you address this problem? I put a proposal together, submitted it to them, and they reviewed it. They came back. It was like a federal grant, right? I got reviews, I got comments, but it was nice because there was an open dialogue about, hey, could you do this? Could you do this? What about this? And it was really nice to have that. I don't know enough about where the funding comes from, but they know the questions that need to be answered within their own lake. And that's what I'm trying to get students to understand.
2 minutes if you have a question.
Yep.
I know that UW students were doing salting into the water on the bus stream. And I just wonder where all that data went to, or is that available on the website?
Say that again. They were looking at salt coming off of runoff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and they were doing testing out there on the bus stream.
So So part of it is the capstone. We're trying to work with the university to better understand where we're allowed to store the capstone data. I do not know if that was one of my student projects. It could have been. We have multiple groups working on different issues. So